Welcome to Champion Minded, the podcast for those who aim for excellence, not only in the sports arena, but in life. My name is Allistair, author, speaker, mindset and performance coach, and my goal is to help you unleash your unlimited potential and provide you with the tools to achieve greatness. Are you ready to become champion minded? Then let's do this. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Champion Minded podcast. My name is Allistair. Thank you so much for joining me this week. In this week's episode, we have What It Takes. What It Takes is the series where I get to interview some of the best performers in the world and get into the mindsets, get into the preparation, get into the motivation, and the secrets of some of the best performers. And this week, I am super pumped to have Marcio Sicoli. Marcio is the current head coach at Pepperdine University for the women's beach volleyball team. And he is also the former trainer of arguably the best duo in Olympic history in beach volleyball for women, Misty May Trainer and Kerry Wells-Jennings. They took gold in 2012 in London, and they took the bronze in Rio. I met Marcio through a good mutual friend, Martin Parks, on one of my trips to California where I spoke at Pepperdine. And he was definitely someone that I had to get on the podcast. I know you're going to enjoy this one. Regardless of what sport or what background you're coming from, Marcio has so many golden nuggets to share with us from an athlete perspective and from a coach's perspective too. So here it is, Marcio Sicoli, Olympic Gold Medalist Coach, and I hope you enjoy this one, guys. Marcio, welcome to the Champion Minded podcast.
Thanks, Allistair. Excited about this opportunity. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Me too, man. I mean, I am so pumped. As you know, we met 2-3 weeks ago in Pepperdine University. And through a mutual friend, Martin Parks. And, Martin said to me before the visit, you have to meet this guy. You have to meet Marcio. So all is true. I'm super pumped about today's podcast. And thank you again, because I know you're in the middle of the season. It's super busy there.
Yeah, we're kind of like on a back end right now. We are doing really well here at Pepperdine. But again, I'm never busy to learning and teaching. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Okay, so Marcio, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a brief background of where you grew up and when your journey in the world of beach volleyball started.
Absolutely. Well, originally from Brazil, Rio, born and raised out there with my family in a really, really early age. I was the second child, and my mom got divorced. I was not even one at that time, and she remarried, and I had a great, dad that I call a dad. In Brazil, he is on the army officer. Growing up in Brazil, Rio, I went through all the soccer and the magic of soccer and be a Brazilian. It didn't work that well for me, but I had great experience, great friends. Because of the military, we moved a lot. We moved all over the country. So I think that was really important for me. I like that, and definitely helped me on that transition coming to the United States. Basically, I loved sport all my life, and engaged on college back in Brazil, my undergrad with physical education. As soon as I was done with that, I go for my specialization in sports training, and it came a beach volleyball, a great opportunity to accreditation for beach volleyball level number 2, and I was the younger coach to take that course at that time. And then from that is just history. I got great mentors, Abel, Leticia, that walked me through the high level at that time. Beach volleyball community, it is a really small world, and I had a chance to come to the United States and be here and coach Holly McPeak, another legend. And 10 years later, I've been here in the United States and enjoy life.
Awesome stuff. Now, what I'm picking up already, I mean, because you are a world-class coach. You've coached Olympic gold medalists Kerry Welsh Jennings, Misty May Trainer. You've worked with high level. But what I'm picking up here already from just your introduction is discipline from a military family, well-traveled, and also the environment that you were brought up in as well. As you mentioned, it was a soccer environment, but very much a volleyball environment as well, right? Because obviously on the beaches of Rio, they're playing sports, and would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you're born in Brazil, you're gonna play soccer, you like it or not. So, and that is started. But my biggest influence was at that time my dad, because he was a national Army team as a volleyball player and basketball player.
Interesting.
So that kind of given that perspective, that was something else than soccer. And then growing up and after the Olympics here in LA, Brazil got the silver medal. Volleyball became the second sport in Brazil until nowadays. So that's basically how the whole volleyball started in my life.
So is volleyball, is beach volleyball the second rated sport in Brazil right now? Did I get that right?
Yes, you're correct. So basically in Brazil right now, number one is soccer and number two is volleyball. And in Brazil, that is like a small distinction between indoor and beach. So volleyball and beach volleyball, it is the second sport like rated in Brazil right now. Here in the United States, it's a little different because the indoor volleyball is way bigger at this point. So that is a bigger distinction. But in Brazil, volleyball in general is the second sport.
Right. What level did you play at, Marcio?
I did. I went through youth national team on the indoor volleyball. Went to college, was the setter and captain for my team throughout the college by my junior year. And on my junior year to the senior year, that's when things start like changing a little bit. That my mindset and my eyes were a little changing. How did I see the game? And I had great mentors along the way that really helped me out on that.
The decision to become a coach or go into coaching, when did that happen?
I have a funny story on that. I was exactly at that time in junior year, and I had a teacher, and he was my coach at the volleyball team as well. So I was doing like a elective that was volleyball, and we were talking, and we were having like a great discussion about volleyball. And he mentioned like you have something that's pretty unique that you might use in the future as coaching or creative relationships with players. And I said, well, that's great. But I love to play. I love the competition. And then he mentioned like, one thing that I learned through my experience is if you want to step one day on a coaching role, you should mourn the player on you. And then at that time, I was like, what? I'm junior. I'm playing. I'm like captain and starting of this team. It kind of took me like, well, hold on. I cannot coach and play in the same time. And that really, really stayed with me on that. And then as soon as my senior year started, I'm a 5'10" guy, not a tall. Other kids, better players coming up. I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot and kind of like more being a different role for this team and maybe for my future. And the funny part of this, I can tell you, since my senior year in college, I probably can tell you and count in one hand how many times I played volleyball or beach volleyball.
Interesting. You spoke about mentors. What have been the greatest influences in your career, not just as a player but a coach? It's kind of like really hard even to say that because I don't want to, forget any of my dearly friends. I think the first one started at home. My dad is a big figure for me and still nowadays. It's really important for me.
And along the way, one of my teachers, exactly the one that mentioned about mooring the player on you, it really stuck with me there. And then another person that became my dearly friend until today, his name is Abel. He is a 3 times Olympian as a beach volleyball coach, live in Brazil, work with the indoor team right now. It was just the idea to like, hey, you can take risks, you fail, you're here, we are a team, we're going to be okay. So I really feels that when I was growing up and getting better as a coach. And the time here in the United States, Nina, my head coach, I've been working with her for 10 years. She's going to retire after 36 years here at Pepperdine.
Wow.
So this 10 years partnership, it really taught me not just getting depth in the coacher and an American coacher, but how things works, around here, and then how even that way I can still be successful and put like a little twist on the program as who I am and who we are. So that's kind of where we are with the mentors.
Oh. Now, you mentioned your mentor there at Pepperdine. You predominantly work with women athletes. What would you say is the difference in coaching men and women, Marcio, in your opinion? Because you have a lot of experience in that department. Obviously working with Carrie Wells-Jennings and Misty May Trainer, and obviously the Pepperdine girls. What is the big difference in coaching men and women?
I have one of the things that I always take in consideration is 2 words. Is the difference of aggression and emotion. By nature, and I think coaches forgot sometimes that we are mammals, and we have male mammals and you have female mammals. And by nature, men's and males, that is aggression. So that is more aggression in your speak and your feedback and how you were gonna maybe send a message. And this is an overall rule. Of course, we have like specific cases in there. And for the females, that is more an emotion connection. It's not emotional connection. We don't need to be emotional or not telling the truth or use sandwich feedback for females. But that is more about the emotion and how create relationships in an emotion environment rather than an aggression environment. So a pretty example is, you get guys, and if you want to tell them, you just, go after and then create that aggression and they go. What I've been learning with the women is that they don't go. They don't go if that is not more an emotion level. And again, that is different players here and there, but that's kind of how I see overall rule on those 2 words about aggression and emotion.
I like that. So if you could give any advice to any coaches out there working with female athletes, just one bit of advice, what would it be?
For coaches, and I would say that not just for female, but males, special with females is awareness. You have to be aware. You have to be aware of your position, of the society, of the culture, of the position of power that, unfortunately the males still have that over females. You have to be aware of that and make sure that it's not about you. You need to make your athlete, female or male, especially the female, comfortable and be on a safe environment. And that is, number 1 rule for us here at Pepperdine, or when I was with Carrie, Misty, Carrie Napro, Carrie Nicole, is be absolutely a safe environment that we are able to be ourselves, we're able to celebrate ourselves, respect ourselves on that environment. So awareness of that safe environment, especially on a female, it's really, really important.
coachability. What makes, in your opinion, a coachable player?
A coachable player. That is a really good question, because maybe I'm like really naive still, but I think like everyone is coachable. I think coachability, it comes with relationship. It is how you as a coach spend time understanding what type or how through relationship you can send your message. I think that is the most important thing. I used to say, and all my players know that, I will not going to be friends with them on Facebook. I don't have Facebook. I don't follow them on Instagram. But I wanted that our relationship be, if you are in trouble, you got in jail, I will be the first phone call. So I think that is the type of relationship that make any individual coachable. I think that is really, really kind of like one of my mottos and one of my mantras like throughout my coaching career.
Man, we're probably only about 15 minutes into this podcast, and I can't tell you how much information you've just dropped here. I mean, when I ask that question, what makes a coachable player? You usually hear the work ethic, the attitude, the effort, the accountability, but it's the first time someone has said to me that everybody is coachable, because straight away our minds just go to these commonalities that we all, that I just spoke about there. But relationship, connection, how important is that? Because there can be no connection if there's no trust, right?
Correct. And I think that's, all those things that we used to say were ethics, and this is like the second, third step, and again, the world, it is about transactions. And why on the sports and coaching world is not about transactions? It is about, well, that is this guy or this girl that is God that we call coach, and everybody's underneath of him. That's not really how that works. That is a transactional, that is an emotion transaction, that is a relationship there that has to happen to other things start trigger for performance. And again, we don't know what type or level of performance we're going to reach, but we know that we have like some basics that we need to go through to get there. And then again, and people a lot of times are like, well, what does that mean? You're going to tell them that they're good the whole time. We're going to create like, a relationship that we're not scratching the surface. And then I think that is easy to tell something or, work ethics and all that, because all this is you're just scratching the surface. It's you go to the gas station and you put like, the pump itself. Do you know how you put gas in Brazil?
No, how?
Yeah, you have someone there. You have to tell someone, you have to talk to someone and say, hey, hi, how are you? I would like $10 of gas.
Right.
So it is different. That is that type of transaction that I think coaches get caught in performance and make sure that they understand my message. Well, you need to know, where they are and how they will get that message.
Interesting. Marcio, let's talk about a great passion of mine, the mindset. In your opinion, what makes a mentally tough player?
Wow. Yeah,
I told you I'd be firing questions at you, getting as much information out of you as possible, because you're a tough guy to reach. So I'm taking full advantage of it.
Oh, please do. Well, I just want to make sure that this is, I think that is better, smarter coaches and more experienced out there than myself. It's just like my own experience is being tough, and tough mindset is through experience. And then people used to say, well, I read that book, I did those tests, and this is not what's going to make you tough. It is something that I heard actually from hopefully a dear friend for the future, Allistair McCall. It is through options and choices, and it is about okay, what do I do? Am I gonna just stay here, sit, on my computer because I need to answer these emails, or I'm gonna get a bounce ball, and then I can work on my core. Meanwhile, I'm doing this before practice. So I think that's what it creates the toughest minds out there, is their choice to live on the edge of the comfortable and the uncomfortable, and be fine with it, and be proud of it, and be fine, and have a support system of the family. And Mike Gervais used that word, is living like on a razor's edge. And then people's like, oh, okay, well, that's training hard. It is this. No, it is on the mundane activities. It is, look, hey, I have to go here to there. Am I going to use my car, or can I walk? One of the things that I always talk to my wife about this, and this is like a funny story, is we go to this like mall, right? And then, on one side is, different stores, and the other side, it is different stores. We park on the north side, and then we go there. Okay, now we got to go to the south side. Why we just don't leave the car there? No, people get in the car and then drive. Well, hold on. Let's go walk in there. So, and I think that is, but maybe it's dark, maybe it's cold, maybe perfect. Let's make it harder and let's see how we do. So those are like mundane activities. And I think that's when you start getting tougher and tougher. It's when, you're running out of toothpaste today. Well, okay, I'm going to go without toothpaste. Things like that, rather than, okay, no, I'm going to call someone and get it. So little things that I think will help you with performance.
Man, I love the analogies.
That's what I'm known for, by the way. All my players go crazy on little things.
Well, they say great coaches are great storytellers. So I'm sure you've got a heck of a lot. But you're absolutely right. Life is about choices, and it's something in my own personal life. Some of the standards I have for myself are making my bed in the morning, regardless if I'm at home or staying in a hotel. I even make my bed actually the day I leave the hotel, even though I know that the sheets are going to be changed.
That's great.
Also, if I'm in an airport and there's the option of the elevator or there's stairs, I'm going to take the stairs. And I feel good about it. I feel good about myself. But it's just that little click in your head of just making better choices. I've always believed, from my own athletic career, of go the hard way, because it's going to pay off in the long run.
I totally agree with that. I did not have your athletic experience. I'm, never been on that highest level of athletic experience as a player. But I totally agree.
But you see, here's the thing. Sorry, you don't need to be. It's like you said, Marcio. It's a choice of mindset,
correct,
regardless of what you've done.
Absolutely, and then that is one thing that I would love to add on this. It is, I tell my players, is what are you gonna leave behind? So you want to come in, and I used to say that when I travel around the world for tournaments, one day out of that week that I'm there, or whatever time it is, I need to eat and leave like the locals. So when you go to China, when you go to Japan, so that is that day that I do that, because that makes you like, hey, I have some stories to tell. I did something that nobody did. So I love sailing, and when I go places and that is like sailboats there, I will go rent, because I want to do something that it is extraordinary. And to do something that is extraordinary, you have to leave extraordinary. And the players call me crazy. They are kind of like, you're kind of crazy. But that's what we're trying to achieve here. That's how we have to leave. And I think that is pretty important. I think we're on the same page on that one.
It's completely the champion-minded approach, and that's what this podcast is about. Is that you don't need to be the most talented, the most skilled. It's a choice rather of your habits, your routines, your attitude on a daily basis that gets you the results and gets you success. And for the best coaches that I've observed in the world are not only teaching sports skills but life skills. And speaking to Martin Parks before I met you, he said, this is the coach you have to meet because he's just a guy that just teaches life skills. He's a champion-minded coach, as Martin said.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate that. I do, and I agree. And also, like, I make sure with my players that we are on the same level. We're sharing experiences here, and this is how my lenses see. Let's talk about it. And let's see if we can find a common ground here for you make your own path. You don't need to be me. I'm not going to be you. You're not going to leave what I leave. That is impossible. So let's try together with those experiences, like create your own path.
I like that. Marcio, and I always love to ask this question, especially to coaches of your level, because you've worked with all levels, from grassroots right up to Olympic gold medalists. In your opinion, what separates the good from the great? What have you seen? And we've probably discussed already some of those traits, but what have you seen that really stands out between the good and the great?
I think it is the consistency to start and restart.
There we go.
It is the consistency of, like, okay, I'm waking up and I'm doing this and this and this, and then shut off on the end of the day or the time that is correct, and then again restart. So the great and the good, the difference for me is like the switch. It's the on and off switch, and that on and off switch, it is spot on. When they need to be on, they're on. When they're off, they're off. One of the biggest discussions in training right now is, from Anders Ericsson, is about the 30,000 hours, and what's the specific time that makes you great or good. It is so individual, but I think it is the consistency of turning on. And okay, I need to turn it on in the morning, and then I will shut off by midday. And then today there is another practice in the afternoon, and I'm going to turn it on again. So I think that is the difference. One of the things that, culturally, everybody I hate Mondays because Mondays is the best day of the week. If you can, turn on every Monday of your life at that 8:30 a.m. that no one wants to even be there. If you can do that, I think you are on the path to greatness.
I love that. I love that.
It's so when people come to me and say, "Hey, how's your day?" It's great, outstanding, and you keep that consistency of greatness, because you could be like going through adversity and family issues, personal issues, and professional issues. But you're going to be great if you can turn on and turn off in a consistent basis. And, people are like, well, Marcio, you're telling me that, you got to train and you got to be this disciplined. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when it's on, it's on. When it's off, it's off. And we always talk about military and how the American military and the SEALs and all the forces and the Rangers, and I don't want to, give any groups recognition right now, but that's what they're good. They turn on and they go out there, then they turn off. And they have that ability to do that in a period of deployment or training that nobody does. That is that type of mindset that makes them great. Of course, again, that is all the preparation, the talent that will come in, but the mindset and that type of way to live, I think that is really important.
Interesting. So consistency is really the key point. I couldn't agree with you there more because, consistency in habits, consistency in moods, consistency in repetition, consistency in communication, all these vital things that make up, that create excellence, right?
Absolutely. And then the other part that I talk about consistency is you don't need to be the same. Well, if every Tuesday I do this, well, I'm gonna do this every Tuesday. It's not that. It is about the consistency of the transparency. You're transparent. Like, and when I get to practice and I had like tough road or a traffic, and I come in, and then that is my first thing to say, hey guys, here's the deal. Let me get myself together here. It's been really tough. I need you guys' help. Let's go through this together. So that is consistency, to do that. And then not one day hide that, or the other day I don't say it, or that. No, it's just like a consistency behavior in who you are. That is phenomenal. I got goosebumps when this happened with myself and with my team. That people used to say, well, coach was mad today. Okay, well, coach has the right to be mad. So when the players are mad, the coaches were like, why you're mad? Well, I'm mad because I'm mad. Well, let's talk about it. Everybody has that right. And that's what I call consistency. Not just scratching the surface, faking because you have to, and this is what it is at that time. But the consistency of like, hey, this is the reality. This is what's going on.
Marcio, would you be able to describe your coaching style, your philosophy or coaching style in any way?
You know what? Yes, I think, man, again, I think I'm really young on this path still to kind of define who I am. And, that is always this type of transformation. And when I started, we did a project with the USOC about that. When it started, that was something. And now, I think now I'm way more narrow. And, here's one of the, actually I create that quote for my office is, and this is how I want to be for my athletes. We have the power of choice to create and cultivate relationships. And that is to explore, clarify, and activate autonomy. If I'm coaching under that umbrella, I do believe that we might be going in the right direction as soon as we start putting the other ingredients for high performance. But that is our choice to create and cultivate relationships and go in depth about it. And then when we have those, we explore what it is and then explore new techniques, explore training. We clarify, we have a discussion about, is that good? Is that bad? How you feel? What we're going to do here? This is what I see. And after that, we activate. We activate to go out there and kick butt in a way that only you, as an athlete, at that moment, will have the autonomy to make the right decision. Not me. Not me. So that's kind of like how I see my coaching philosophy.
I like that. Let's talk about a big one. This one of the questions I asked you just a little bit back was the difference between the good and the great. Pressure. Pressure is obviously one area where the good and the great are separated, in my opinion. How, if you could give some advice to athletes out there, young or whatever it may be, on handling pressure, what would it be? What would your best tips be on handling pressure?
Wow. I love those because you put me on the spot.
Yep.
and you can see that I talk a lot, blah. But, first that I talk about pressure is awareness. That is the word that I talk to my players about. That is being aware of pressure and know that it's coming and how you're going to do your homework to prepare for that. So you have to be aware that, maybe this tournament is going to be big. This tournament will define some sponsorships. This tournament will define my Olympic qualification. That game and match are going to define the color of my medal. You have to be aware of that. When you're aware, your senses and your body, it's not taken as a surprise. And it really helps you to relax. And I used to say that relax your body on the muscle, but even relax your brain, because you're not getting caught on that pressure. And if you do that, right, and you have awareness and you do your homework, and then we can even change for preparation, but preparation and awareness, they're different. I would rather use awareness. And then the last thing is, whatever you are, wherever you're playing, whatever level you are, make sure that moment that you are in is not going to define you forever. If you make that shot, or if you don't make that shot, it's not going to define you, the person that you are. And I think when athletes have awareness and they start thinking about this, the first question that I think comes on their mind on the crunch time is why I shouldn't take that shot. Nothing's going to happen. And then they go. And that excellence of just going triggered that moment to go and saying that, hey, you know what? I'm going to be fine. I think that is the most important for me for on that pressure.
I like that. Especially, I actually spoke to an athlete yesterday about this exact subject of what you just said there now, about that you're not defined by what you do. You're not defined by the result you get. And sometimes, especially at an elite level, athletes put an incredible amount of pressure on themselves to get that gold, or to get that qualification, or to get that time, or whatever it may be. Instead of obviously just enjoying the experience, being prepared as well as possible, and going out and executing. But as we know, at the highest level, it's there's a lot of variables there as well. So, excellent, Marcio. Let's switch it up a bit. If you were to describe Kerry Welsh Jennings, who obviously is probably one of the best players ever in women's beach volleyball. What are her strengths? What are her qualities as a player?
That's
I'm sure we'd probably need about another hour for this one, but
well, I hope she's not going to text me after hearing that, saying like, "Well, you forgot this and that." After 10 years, that's what you tell me. But I always tell her one of the things that I'm really that I always look, and she is like a big icon for our sport. It is her intensity. She is a competitor, and when she put her name, her family, and herself in something, she goes to the end, and she will not stop. So that intent, like intention, and it's really, really, really important, and I think that's what has been making her that type of competitor. It's not fearless. People has fears, and to fail, and fears, with the family and the pressure, as we just talked about it. But it's just the intentionality, and then how intense she is with everything that she does. From taking care of her family, taking care of her kids, coming to practice. And sometimes it is my job to kind of tell her, like, hey, you gotta volume down, because otherwise we're gonna peak too early, we're gonna break too early. But that is one of her big characteristics. I feel as a person that is that intentionality and the intense with what she does.
in your opinion, I mean, obviously volleyball is a team sport. You know, you've either got the double pairs on the beach, or you have, correct me if I'm wrong here, 5 players on indoor volleyball, correct?
Indoor 6.
6, sorry. 6. In your opinion, Marcio, what makes a great team player?
I would say you're talking about specifically to beach volleyball, or
No, just generally working together with a teammate. What makes a great team player in your opinion? I know, again, a lot of these questions we could go on and on and on, but you know, what sticks out for you in a great team player or a great teammate?
You know, here's a couple traits that I've seen. You know, in a really high level. One is great people that they can identify patterns. So players that they can identify patterns, they have usually a step ahead of other players in the team and in an opponent. So they almost like they know it's coming.
So we're talking about it. We're talking about a tactical element here, right?
We're talking about tactical, technical, and actually behavior as well.
Okay.
It is the ability to understand patterns. So, for example, you know, on double days week, Monday through Friday, we're practicing twice. They have that feel what's coming within their team. They have the pulse of the team before it happens. So if they're tired, if that person needs a one-on-one, if that person needs a talk, so they're always a step ahead on the behavior. On the technical part as well, you know, identify that, oh, that player is making that same mistake technically the whole time. I'm going to explore there. Or the tactical part of, hey, you know what? I'm seeing it that if I go there, she's not going to get it. But if I go there every single time, she's going to adjust. I'm going to use that as my card on my sleeve. So that is one of the things that I've identified, and it's the ability to see patterns. That's one. Flexibility, not be like extremely rigid with, you know, mundane stuff. Like, you know, I like something, the other person likes something. How you like this? How's that possible? But be flexible and celebrate the differences. Like you're flexible enough that like, oh, okay, you like coffee, I like tea. That is outstanding. Let me know a little bit more about your tea. So that is insane. And then the last one, that it is the fine line. They are able to stay on that fine line between self and the team. They're able to really capitalize when they need to get better themselves. And then we call that, in a, like scratching the surface, we call that leading by example, maybe. And the team, when they need to step back, maybe carry the water, we call that carrying the load, you know, for someone else go in front of them. So those three, I would say, patterns, flexibility, and the fine line of self and team performance, I think it really can help you define yourself as a really good team player.
Well said, well said. You know, we could almost define the third point as awareness, right?
Correct, absolutely. It is the awareness of what is coming, what is happening. I think that is really impressive. And I can say about this, Misty May trainer, unbelievable on that. The ability that she had to understand and be aware of the patterns, like how the other opponent will behave. But the most important thing, how my partner is behaving right now. And, okay, I see this. Okay, I know that this is coming. So rather than let drop all the way to the bottom, we will drop a little bit, but we don't need to go all the way to the bottom. We kind of go like a little lower and then stay on that high standard. So that is an unbelievable example for that.
Awesome. Man, Marcio, this has been incredible stuff. This has been gold medal stuff, man. So a few more questions, then we're going to wrap up because I know you are you're a busy guy. As a coach, what drives you?
That is a good one. I was talking to my wife about that because she was like, "Well, you're gonna get, you're in a head coach position next year and another Olympics. Like, what else?" And then, that is one thing that drives me, Allistair, and that is exactly what we're doing right now. It is the learning and teaching, behavior and movement. It is about never be full of anything. You always have the capability and I call that the space memory, the gigabytes inside of you to put information in there, and then share that and share. And people go like, well, you're going to share your secrets. It's not a secret. Exactly. I think coaches nowadays, they get caught on this, especially for their players as well. That is no secret. We Google now. We Google. Yeah. And then that's what drives me is that partnership of learning and teaching and learning, with other coaches and other players and my players, and then have the ability to teach or share that experience. It is exciting for me. It is exciting from beach volleyball to, my son is playing ice hockey right now. I don't have any clue what it is. I'm learning what blades are.
The complete opposite sport of beach volleyball, from the heat and the sun outside to indoor ice. So you're gonna have to upgrade. You're gonna have to upgrade your wardrobe with some warm clothes, there, buddy.
Absolutely, I'm gonna work on that. So it's that learning and teaching for me is just something that excites me, just to wake up every day.
You hit the nail on the head there. There is no secrets. Like you said, you see, I've never understood coaches who are afraid to share information, because at the end of the day, Marcio, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, that you can share all you want, but it takes the discipline and desire to put that to work, and that is the biggest factor.
I totally agree with you. And you cannot buy that.
Exactly. We can get hold of all your programs, all your training programs, all your periodization programs of the best players you've worked with. But at the end of the day, the work has to be put in, and discipline for me is the biggest factor.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. And that's why, these moments with you, that we can talk about it, we can demystify this. That is this myth. That in the past could be we didn't know what people were, I don't know what people were doing in Brazil. No, I know. I can just Google up here, put on my screen, and then see. In the past, you couldn't. It took months to get in a letter or anything. So I think it's time. It's time for us to demystify this and be a great learning community.
And I've always found, confident coaches are coaches who share.
Correct. And I totally agree with you.
So awesome. Last sentence before we get to the rapid fire questions and close off here. This has been an absolute joy to speak to you, Marcio. Complete the sentence. The legacy I wish to leave as a coach is.
Oh,
the questions don't get easier, do they?
No, not at all. It's we're almost there on the end line, and then you have that hill on those marathons. Why they put those hills in a marathon, by the way? Anyway, I would love, the legacy I wish to leave as a coach is about the relationships and the connections that you make along the way. I used to say that, here at Pepperdine and, with the girls is this is about relationship. This is about people. And along the way, we're going to aim for extraordinary. And that's it. And I think that is life. That's what I would love to leave that as a legacy.
I like that. Awesome. Right, rapid fire questions, not more than one word or a sentence. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
All right, a favorite hobby?
Cook.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard about the Brazilians. Good food.
We do. We learn from home.
I'm sure your wife is happy.
Oh, she is. I'm the cook at home.
Favorite band or musician?
That is this Brazilian musician called Gonzaguinha. He died in a car crash a long time ago, sadly. But he was really special in his words and lyrics about life, politics, and then how can be a better human being.
So he left a legacy as well, didn't he, by the sounds of it? Yeah.
Absolutely, he did.
This is going to be a tough one because I'm sure there's been many. Greatest moment as a coach?
Oh, I'm going to say this, and then probably it's... when you tell me that, the only thing that comes in my mind is relief. That is the relief to get the job done. You know what I mean? And when I say job done, it could be a gold, a silver, a bronze. It could be a national championship here at Pepperdine. It is just that. Okay, job is done. Let's take a little break. Go back to your family and then restart. That's how I see my best coaching moments.
Favorite book ever read?
I'm gonna say that one. It is a really political book that I read probably when I was like around 14. It is the name of the book is in Portuguese. I'm gonna try to translate here. Is Exile on the Big Island. So basically, it was a political prisoner that was sent to a big island in jail, and then his story, and that really gets me since today.
Okay, all right. Just a reminder, let's try to keep them at one word or sentence. So
got it. There you go. Thank you.
That's the challenge. Favorite movie?
Green Zone. Matt Damon.
Okay. Favorite food?
Meat.
Okay. Any meat?
Red.
Okay.
Brazilian.
Favorite sports team? Can be any sport.
All Blacks.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Wow. For a Brazilian to say the All Blacks, I am impressed. I am impressed. And reason?
Just the way that they operate. The way that they are always looking ahead and legacy and do the right thing.
Have you read the book Legacy?
Yep.
Excellent, isn't it? Great book by James Kerr. Yep. Favorite country or place ever visited?
Italy. Love it.
Okay. Favorite other sport to watch?
Ice hockey. I got in. My son got in.
Okay, there you go. Let's see. Favorite athlete, male or female? Past or present?
That is a really tough one. That is a really, really tough one.
Or you can give me a male and female.
For a female, I would say Tachi. Nobody knows her that much. Tachi, beach volleyball player that I had a chance to coach.
Okay.
For a male, have you heard about Bernardo Rezende?
I haven't. No.
Yeah, so he was a setter for the national team, average setter, and he became like the biggest coach in Brazil for the indoor volleyball team with 3 Olympic medals.
Wow.
I follow him he's older than me but Bernardo, I think he was an unbelievable athlete and became a great coach.
Cool. All right, 2 questions more.
Okay.
With the bonus one at the end, of course. Biggest pet peeve in other people?
Those people that they think that they know everything.
Okay.
Yep. That's a pet peeve.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay. One word. Actually, no. Let's ask you this one. One thing, and this is the last one on the rapid fire questions. One thing others don't know about you.
I am allergic to mosquito bites.
Oh boy. Okay. So got to be careful of the malaria.
I know, especially from Brazil. Really? Come on.
And Florida.
Growing up was hard. Yeah, that was rough growing up, I would tell you.
Oh man, I can bet. Okay, Marcio, final question. In your opinion, what does it take to be champion-minded? Just to round off the this awesome interview here.
You know what? Put the time in. That's what comes in my head. put the time in.
Love
So
it.
don't scratch the surface. Go in depth. I think that's you're gonna be successful in any areas that you choose.
Awesome. Marcio Sicoli, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here on the Champion Minded podcast on What It Takes. I'm going to let you get back to what you do best, but again, thank you so much. It's been really, really enlightening, and I know the listeners out there are going to enjoy this one.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and I'm always open for that conversation. You guys can find me at marcio.sicoli at pepperdine.edu. I will be always open. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with anyone who you might know would benefit from it, or who aims to create excellence in their life. Also, please head on over to iTunes, subscribe, and please leave a review. I would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget that this podcast is also available on YouTube. If you'd like to stay connected, I'm on social media at Twitter at Allistair McCall, Instagram, Be Champion Minded, Facebook, McCall Method, and if you'd like to leave a comment, share some feedback, then please email me at mccallmethod@aol.com. Also, big thanks to all of you who share my posts on social media under the hashtag ChampionMinded. I greatly appreciate it. So, until next week, remember you were made for greatness. Now go out and do the work. Until next time, stay champion-minded, my friends.